destroyed village appeared in the distance, they were horrified. Shaha was unconscious when he found her, and Zakariya couldn't believe that she was still breathing. Their son's body lay curled up in her lap, and they were still clinging to each other. Hanna was utterly stupefied. He thought for a moment that he had lost the power of speech. One of the fishermen led him down a narrow, debris-filled lane to the body of his wife, Josephine. She was paler than she had been in life. Her lips closed like all the dead, and his son was next to her, rigid, his stomach distended like a water-skin. Hanna trudged back along the river road, a familiar route. He stepped over the corpses of cows, sheep, and people. He climbed the long staircase to his room, built a short distance away, and from the broad window he looked out over his village, transformed into silt and the remnants of things. There was no longer anything blocking his view over the remote distances. The river, which he knew so well, ran along as it had for eternity, demure and quiet, as if it hadn't done anything at all. The sunlight glittered on its surface like golden coins. He reflected that once again he was alone, without a family. Entertainment and pleasure had saved him in Zakariya. If they had delayed their visit to the citadel with their friends, they would now be two bloated corpses reeking of mass death, that fetid smell that he would later try and fail to describe. He could not forget Mariana's words when she told him that Josephine had been terrified as her soul rose to heaven, raising her hand and clutching at the air while her other hand gripped her son tightly. She had plunged into the river and resurfaced more than once before she drowned and became a corpse, meek and smiling, just as she had been when she arrived at Hanna for the first time, and all the fellahin of the village saw her get down from the carriage. When Hanna insisted on asking Mariana about their last moments, all she said was that drowned people's features disappear, and they don't look at all like the other dead. Hanna felt as if he were caught on a shadowy horizon, hearing the bones of perished beings shattering under his feet. Zakariya couldn't bear to see his friend so frightened, so he acted decisively. He arranged the village graveyard anew with the help of the fellahin from the neighboring villages, and he buried most of the bodies that the river had spat out onto its banks. He still knew them, even though their features were distorted. He knew their scars, the color of their eyes. He buried an intimate part of his life in their graves. The graveyard was a vision of horror to Zakariya and Hanna as they looked at it from the window of Hanna's room. The graves of the Christians were lined up neatly next to the graves of the Muslims, and the graves of the unknown and the strangers were in a third orderly row. Other graves were left open to receive any corpses that the river had swept away to distant villages. The fellahin had spent 3 days digging graves according to instructions from Zakariya, who at that moment had no thought for anything other than burying the dead. He kept repeating that the dead would turn into a plague before long. He buried more than 150 bodies, and was never truly rid of their cold touch and the smell. He hadn't known that the scent of death hangs in one's clothes